Perfectly Normal, a podcast that brings you love, courage, and connection. And I'm your host, Michelle. I'm a life coach, artist, author, and pharmacist. I'm the founder of Elevate Life Coaching. It's a seminar and coaching company. Let's jump right into the show. Hi, everyone. Today, I would like to talk about traveling. Like, how many of you likes to travel? The other day, I was asking someone. I said, if you can drop everything in the world and not have to worry about anything at all, what would you rather do? And then the person I was talking to, and he said, well, I basically, if I can do anything else in the world and I don't have to worry about money, I don't have to worry about job, then I would like to go travel. I said, travel, that's very interesting. Because if you think about it, we travel on a daily basis. We travel to work, we travel to go home, we travel to grocery store, we travel everywhere. But when it comes to travel, people usually associate that word as, you got to get on the flight and be somewhere. And it may be in another country or maybe in another state. It doesn't matter. But as long as you are not physically within your neighbor, that is considered travel. So for the past couple of years, I always travel abroad every year. I save up all my money, and that one year I would just pick a destination and I would go there. And generally, the way that I travel is very different than compared to my siblings. So my brother doesn't travel that much, but my sister travel quite a bit. And her idea of traveling is more, traveling is about relaxing. You go to a hotel and you check in, you relax, you enjoy the environment at the time. For me, traveling is more of going to places, for example, to hike. I hiked the Machu Picchu. That was traveling for me. And then the following year, I actually went to I spent 2 weeks in Cambodia, and that was also traveling, but I was also working. So I volunteered at Cambodia, and I remember I would volunteer for one of the nonprofit school right there in Cambodia. It's a local community school where they benefit the children within the neighborhood, the underprivileged children. And what they provide is by having children coming to the school, they will provide food, and so that these children can be fed. And many of these children, because they're really, their environment and their situation is really quite challenging, so they're not even able to have one decent meal in the family. And the average income in Cambodia is $20. I mean, can you imagine living your life for $20 a month? And I mean, just unheard of. So I was there for 2 weeks, and I was there teaching English. I know, right? My English is quite proficient apparently. I was there teaching children English, and they have children from kindergarten all the way till like around junior high and high school year. And what they do is they teach um, junior high and high school children how to work in restaurants or in a visit where visitor, they require a lot of tours, they have a lot of tours services. So generally in the hospitality or in restaurant or becoming a chef, and some of them, because their English is quite good, so they can actually work at the front desk. So if you go to Cambodia, chances are you'll meet one of my students. I really enjoy working and volunteering abroad because it actually allowed me to get a sense of what the other culture is like, and also allows me to live with the locals. So where I stayed, it was not like a 5-star or 4-star or even 3-star hotel. It was a more like a Airbnb type of thing, and it was with the locals, so I got to experience what it feels like to be there, to live there. And it was only 5-10 minutes away from the local market, so a lot of time I can just walk there and then start really eating some authentic local food, rather than spending dollars in fancy restaurant somewhere. So that's my style of traveling, and I truly enjoy doing that. And every year I would do that. So Machu Picchu was one, and I also went to Japan. Japan, I went with my parents. It was more of a luxurious um, traveling style because I actually had to check into hotels, and we were going from places to places. We were on a tour actually with a tour company, so that was a little different. But I went to Japan, and I would say that for the last 5 years or six, my most memorable time in traveling is when I volunteer abroad. And also, definitely Machu Picchu or Peru was definitely my on the top of my list. And I went to these two places alone. So, what I really wanted to talk about today is really how do you travel alone? Because many of us, we don't feel comfortable traveling alone. We like to have that company, and we enjoy talking to other people. And when you go to a foreign country where you don't speak their language, that can be very fearful. And it can trigger a lot of anxiety for you, especially like how do you go to the bank, or how do you ask for direction, and how do you do this and that, and there's a lot of question mark when I first decided that I was going to go to Peru because I don't speak Spanish. I have no knowledge of Spanish whatsoever. So initially, it was really scary. I mean, I had to when I first decided. I was thinking, well, what have I done? I don't speak the language. I don't know anybody, and I'm gonna be there by myself. How am I gonna even lift my suitcase out from the airport and going up to the stair? What do I do? So I wanted to share with you a couple of tips on how to travel alone. And if you ever decided you wanted to go to places alone, there's it's actually quite enjoyable. And my number one tip of traveling alone is, you know, life is so short. And if you just sit home and keep waiting and hoping that someone else would free up their time and free up their schedule and, go to places with you, then you will never travel, right? I mean, that's just face it. You keep on waiting, and you're trying to accommodate each other on the schedule so that that person and you can actually find the time to book the flight, go to the airport, and actually fly over somewhere and make that possible. So that even that just the process of setting up your calendar can be quite challenging, and not let alone that motivation of going and traveling just drop by 50%. So tip number one is don't wait for anybody, and just you got to find a date and on your schedule. And what you do is, where do you want to go? And just pick that date, pick that time, book your flight, and go. So don't wait. Don't wait is number one. And number two tip for you is travel light. Um, I I can emphasize how important it is to travel light. I mean, if you think about it, probably 50, 75% of what you bring, you're not even going to use it. So the way that I packed, I packed pretty very light, just because I don't have a lot of strength and I can't really handle a big luggage if I'm traveling by myself. So I pack really small and I keep it very compact. So on a typical day or a typical trip, I generally would pack three. Let's say it's a 7 day. Well, let's say it's a 2 weeks. Let's say it's a 2 weeks period that you're going to be traveling. What do you pack? Well, here's what I pack. I pack 3 to 4 pairs of jeans or pants or any mixture of that. So just 3 to 4, roll them up, pack them in my suitcase, so that I have more room for other things that I'm about to put in. So 3 to 4 pairs of jeans or trouser or pants, anything that makes you feel comfortable. And you wanted to make sure you pick the material that doesn't require a lot of care, that it doesn't wrinkle as you travel, and that you can actually, jeans, who wash their jeans after just one wear? Of course not. You put it back in the drawer for another month and pull it out and you wear it again, right? So you want to make sure that you pack clothing that does not require a lot of cares. You don't want to, spend hours and time in trying to find a laundromat or just worrying about how to wash it. So that's one my pants. I would also pack, depending on the weather where I'm going, I would also pack anywhere between 4 to 5 tops. So short sleeve shirts, I roll them up, t-shirts, roll them up, or tank top, roll them up. So about 4 to 5, depending on the weather, and if I'm gonna be sweating a lot, then maybe I'll throw in another extra one just so that I don't have to worry about washing them. So 3 to 4, but I mean 4 to 5 is pretty a good number. And then there's time you wanted to go out and have a nice dinner, right? So you wanted to make sure that you get your dress covered. So I will usually bring either 1 to 2 decent dress where I can pair it up or mismatch it so that it can be, wear down. It's not as formal, or I can dress it up and wear it as a formal dress to a dinner. Then there's also shoes, right? So shoes, I don't pack too much. So I have a pair of sneakers on me already. I travel with sneaker. Then I would throw in like maybe a sandal if it's I'm going to a warmer area like Cambodia. It was pretty warm, so I threw it in a sandal, or more like slipper or flip flop that you can wear even to like a night out, pretty easy and relaxed. You can wear something like that to go out. Depending on the function that I go to, I may or may not wear anything high heel because they do take room. So anywhere between 2 to 3 pairs of shoes where I can mix it up again, and to have like different tastes and different style, different way of going out. So that take care of the clothing part. And if it's a area where it requires heavy jacket, then I would throw in my jacket. Then there's also these shampoo, toilets, and what else? I mean, that's it. That's all you need. That's all you need in life, basically fit in a suitcase for you when you travel. And my family, my sister, and especially my dad is actually complete opposite. He would actually fit the whole entire house into his suitcase if he has to. And again, 50 to 75% of the item that he brings, he never gets to use them. So I don't know if our listener here are anyone who can resonate with that. Perhaps you are used to being prepared, and you wanted to feel safe, you wanted to feel right at home. But what would be different for you if you were to eliminate some of the things that you really don't need in your life? What would that look like for you? I'm really curious. So that's this week. I share 2 tips on how to travel alone. The third tip, I will throw in the third tip. The third tip is never be afraid to ask for help. So when you're traveling alone, no matter where you go, don't be afraid to ask for help. And if you need help, there's always a lot of compassionate people. If you look around, you'll find them everywhere in the world. So don't be afraid. Go travel. And I hope you enjoy your flight this week and have a good week. Hey, thanks for joining me this week on Perfectly Normal. Make sure to visit my website at elevatelifecoaching.org. And if you found values in this show, I appreciate a rating on iTunes and Spotify. Or you can simply tell a friend about the show. That will really help me too. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support, and be sure to tune in next week for our next episode.